The only real God is the one that you believe in. Start looking for the God in others. And if you find you're tuning into a wave, well then I don't know much about being saved.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, friends.
Welcome into another episode of Spiritual Philosophy Chatter with the Joneses. I'm Danny Jones.
And I am Samantha Jones.
And here we are, episode 134.
134.
And it looks like we're doing readings.
Yes.
With Samantha.
We are. Another episode of Readings with Samantha.
Cool. Those are always fun.
Yeah.
And helpful.
Yeah, for sure. Our listeners seem to enjoy them, so we try to do them, whatever, like 15 episodes or so.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, before we hop into that, did you want to share anything from last week?
Yes, last week we went to the Camarillo State Hospital and did a field trip and did an episode on it. And that was lots of fun.
Oh, yeah.
And so we got some good response from that, but I wanted to read from Gabe because Gabe lost his mom. Yeah. And so we, sent our condolences, and he said, "Thank you for the condolences. You didn't have to do that, but I appreciate it. I'm starting to feel like the show's mascot." So I was like, well, we could have a mascot.
Yeah, I gotta design a really fun suit for you.
Yeah. Super Gabe. I don't know. But yeah, it could happen. Anyway, so I wanted to read that because I thought it was funny. And then we also, in case you didn't notice, we did another episode last week, or we re-released another episode about the borderline shooting that happened in our hometown. So that one also went out last week, and that one got a lot of listens, actually just as much as the weekly show. So I hope that you guys enjoyed that story. I love that story. I like to share it.
Yeah, it was good to repost it.
Yeah, for sure. So then we answer 2 questions every week.
Yes.
This first question is from Charlie. And so Charlie messaged me, and him and his fiance just moved to Texas. And so yesterday they were on a flight to Texas, and it was the first time that they've flown with their small children. They have a newborn, and I think the other one's like
Where were
1
they
or 2.
Flying from? Do you know?
I want to say it was Louisiana. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Or Florida. I don't remember.
Okay.
Somewhere, it wasn't that far. It wasn't like the other side of the country. Anyways, so he said, the craziest thing is that on the plane, I felt like we flew with the kids before, but it was the first time. Is it possible that I have already lived this time, especially since it feels so familiar, and also I don't have high emotions about us moving in? Do you think that could be from already manifesting it and seeing it? Do these kinds of things happen? No. Yeah, I thought that was... Okay, so it was a great question, and I want to share about something that happened to me at the beginning of my spiritual journey many times, but doesn't happen so often anymore. I used to feel like I would get to do-overs. Mm-hmm. And I used to tell you that. Like, I feel like I'm doing this day over. Like, it feels like Wednesday, but it's Tuesday. It should be Wednesday, and it's not. And this day feels so familiar.
Right.
I don't know what that is. Right. I think there's things about what's actually happening here that we will never comprehend or understand. Right. And so it's very possible. It's also possible that that's what deja vu is. But yeah, that's my closest guess, would be that we might be getting some kind of do-over, or, I mean, I guess simultaneous time too could explain that. Yeah. Yeah.
Or maybe also, I mean, all those I think are really good possibilities. Or maybe he's lived another life where he flew with his children for the first time. And so he's somehow getting that feeling. Yeah. Yeah. The emotions of, like, being emotionless, moving, I think that one of the reasons that happens is because our mind is so busy with the moving that we don't really slow down and enjoy it. And so it doesn't really feel like it's actually happening. That's what happened to me with this house. Yeah. Like, it took me a couple of days to go, whoa, this happened. Yeah. So give it a little bit of time. I think it will. I think, I mean, if you manifest and you see your visions, right? Like, I saw this house before we moved in here, but that kind of just makes it all the more exciting. You know what I mean? So I think you just haven't connected yet because you're just so busy in your mind's other places, but you will. Yeah. Yeah. So I like That's a good question.
Yeah, wasn't it? I liked it. And then the other one that I have is from Amber.
Thank you, by the way,
yes,
Charlie.
Thank you, Charlie. The other one is from Amber. And we were talking about the last week's episode, and she asked, how do you get rid of residual energy? Because we had talked about how Camarillo State Hospital seems to hold a lot of negative energy and residual energy from what went down there. But we also talked about a little bit about how our homes hold that kind of energy as well. So like, let's say that your family has an argument or there's a lot of tension inside the home. That stays there. That energy stays there until it has to go away, and it takes time, right? And so a lot of people use sage for this. I don't like sage. It's too strong. So you can really use anything you want. It's more about the intention.
Yeah.
I use incense, and I open the windows, and because you got to make sure you open the windows, because you're just trapping the negative energy inside. If you don't open the windows, it has no place to go.
Right.
You're trying to get rid of it. Residual energy from like a situation like let's say that there was a murder in the home, and then you move into this home and you can feel the residual energy. My personal feeling on this is that if you allow that spirit to talk and interact and tell their story, that some of that will probably go away because you're lifting it and not making it so heavy.
Yeah.
And the rest, I would get rid of in the way like you do with other, bad energy. Then that's saging or using incense. And really, you can use anything. You can use like lavender spray. I have that. We use that. Any kind of essential oil that you spray, anything like that. It all works the same way. It really is more about the intention and the belief that it's releasing it.
Right.
Even like dancing around your house, because I do that. That
And I
can
think
help
it
too.
can almost, not almost, you can also just, if it's something like, say you have little kids and there's weird energy and everybody's picking up on it, maybe it scares the little kids.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's making them uncomfortable. Even though you may not feel that way about it or worried, maybe you feel the same.
Yeah.
But you can simply command it too. Just by saying, look, this is not the place for you.
Yeah.
We'd rather you not.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't be an ass about it.
Yeah.
But ask.
Yeah, absolutely.
Please, not here.
Yeah, and you bring up another good point is asking the universe to clear the energy will do that as well. So it really doesn't take anything special or special tools or anything. It's all about mind. It's mind over matter. It's like I do a lot of Reiki, and I do it on our animals a lot, and how I visualize it is pulling the energy out of them. Okay, so like if our girl has a bad foot, so I visualize pulling that pain away from the tumor that's in her foot. And you can do the same with a place. You can visualize taking that negative energy away, like sucking it away, like, it's hot and taking it. Anything like that, you are actually doing that work because it is all energy. That is all it is. So it doesn't take anything special. We can do it all with our minds.
Yeah.
So whatever your ritual is. I just like to use incense because I think it smells good and it helps. Yeah. So anyway, I hope that answers your question, Amber.
Thanks, Amber.
Yep.
That was a good one, too.
Yes, it was. And now normally at this point in the show, we do a reading, but this whole episode is readings.
So we'll just jump right into it.
Just jump right in. Yes, let's do that.
All right, then. Well, episode 134, readings by Samantha Jones.
Okay, let's go see what I have here. So most of what I have is animals. But people love the animal episodes, so I don't think anybody's going to complain about that. I wish that I had some psychic readings so that I could demonstrate those. I think this is the only episode that I didn't get any in time. So, but if you want to hear my psychic readings, you can always go back and listen to the other episodes because we do them often. So, let's see. This lady's name is Hadley.
Oh.
Yeah, and I told her when I responded to her, because Danny had a black lab named Hadley, and I had never heard the name before until you, and so
I had never heard it either until I got her.
And then this is only the second time I've ever heard that.
Wow.
So, yeah. Anyways.
It's cute. I like the name.
I do too. Yeah, it's different. I love different names. Okay, so she says, "Hi, this is Atlas. My daughter and I adopted him from a shelter at the end of June, so we've had him for about 4.5 months. He is a love. but I keep wondering if he's lonely and would be happier with another kitty friend around. We don't have the room for another right now, but we will probably be moving soon, and that might create more of a possibility for another down the road, although it might be tough to afford another for now. I am hoping you can tell me about the upcoming move. Tell him about the upcoming move so he knows not to be afraid. I was also wondering if he has anything to tell me about his food. He is a pretty big cat, and I have done a lot of research on feeding him high quality food and feeding him more than enough. And I'm feeding him more than enough for his size, but he's always begging for more in the evenings. I am a long-time listener and love your podcast.
Nice.
All right,
Cute
so
kitty.
sorry about my I mean, it's windy and it's just killing me today. I don't know if you feel it too, but it's like I just feel from all the wind congested. Okay. Let's see. Let's talk to Atlas. So Atlas is very, very content with his life. He didn't have necessarily a bad life before he came to you. Like, I don't feel like there was any abuse or anything like that. I just feel like he didn't have this. This is much better for him. So the first thing that I'll ask him is if he would like a kitty friend, if he's lonely. And I don't feel like he's lonely. No. I feel like he's better off like this. He likes the attention. And I feel like splitting the attention might be a problem for him. Mm. So having one cat means that they're going to rely more on you for the companionship. So I guess this has a lot to do with how you feel. You know, would another cat, do you think that would make your life easier? However, I got another dog thinking it would make our life easier, and it's only made it more difficult. Yeah. So you just never know how it's going to go. Okay. But I really don't think with him that's necessary. I think that he's perfectly fine. He gets as much attention as he needs from you and your daughter. So I think that part of your question there. Let me see what else we have here. Oh, yeah. Let's tell him about the move. Okay. This is great that we're doing this, and I recommend this to people. If you're moving, if there's big changes coming, anything, I do 15-minute readings. They're $35, okay? In 15 minutes, I can tell your animals that they're moving and to try and stay calm. This move coming here was so much easier with telling our dogs what was going on. There was really no adjustment. They were fine. It was great. Yeah. So this is a great way to do it when you move. So anybody, that's doing that, please feel free to contact me and we can set up a reading for that. But let's tell him about his move. He really is fine wherever he goes as long as he's with you guys. So wherever you guys are, if he can be with you, like, okay, you're going back and forth between houses, however long that it takes you to move. Don't leave him at one house for a night without you. Mm-hmm. Take him with you, because that's when his insecurities are going to kick in. But he's okay with the rest of it. Mm-hmm. With the moving, it's not a problem. I don't see him causing any issues in the new house. I think he's going to adjust just fine. He's been through so much change in his short life that this is not a big deal. As long as he's with the people that he loves, not a big deal at all.
Cool.
And then the food, some animals just want to eat. And I don't feel like there's anything wrong with him that's making him want to eat more. I don't feel like you're not feeding him enough food. I just think that one thing is boredom, and the other thing is just that instinct to need to have a full belly all the time. And this comes from what he went through before. So that makes sense. See, sometimes these things come through and they have to develop for me. So what he's saying is, whatever his life was like before, whether this is in the shelter he's talking about or the previous home, he didn't always have food available to him. And so it kind of made him feel like he always needed to eat and always needed to have food there. Yeah. But I don't think that this is the type of cat that you could just put food down and he would scarf it up and then throw it up. You can't do that. So he has to be fed small amounts. So my suggestion to you, this is what we've done with our black lab, and it works great. Split him up into smaller meals. So if you're feeding him twice a day, feed him 4 times a day. It may seem like a pain, but it helps to keep their minds thinking that they're full, and then they don't bother you as much, because our dog can drive us crazy if he thinks that it's anywhere close to mealtime. So splitting it up 4 times a day has really helped. So I would say try that. Start with that and see if that helps. But he seems like a healthy cat. So
he looks happy.
Yeah, he's very happy. He's settled in well.
Nice.
So, okay, let me have some water.
Well, thank you, Hadley and Atlas.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. All right, the next one is Lynn and Sawyer. So Lynn used to work for me as a pet sitter when I had my pet sitting business in Vegas. Oh. So I've known her a long time. And I saw Sawyer come into her life. And I saw him leave. And so I don't know much about the situation, so this is still fresh for me. But there is kind of an emotional attachment because I have seen pictures of this dog throughout his life. So, and this is kind of fresh. So yeah, this is a different kind of reading. This hits closer to home. Okay, so Lynn says, Sawyer's passing has been the most difficult of all the pets I've lost. Is there anything you can tell me about him on the other side?
Pretty,
isn't he? He's chocolate lab and Shar-Pei.
Oh,
yeah, beautiful dog.
Yeah, it's great eyes.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk to Sawyer. So Sawyer knows that he hit the jackpot when he was given Lynn as his family. That he couldn't have asked for a better life. That she may sometimes feel like there's things that she didn't do right or she could have done better, but no. He really appreciates everything that you did for him in his life. He really knows that he couldn't have had a better life. Because, when they get back to the other side, this is with people and animals too, we can see not just this life, but all of our lives. And dogs live multiple times throughout our lifetime. And so he's been through different things. And so he can see past lives, and he knows that this life was exceptionally good for him, that he really enjoyed this life.
Nice.
Yeah, his time with you was adventurous, he tells me. He loved... he was always kept busy. Lynn knew to keep him busy because if he didn't, then he would get in. If she didn't, he would get into trouble. So he was always busy. She always took him places and did things with him, and that kept his mind occupied. And he loves that and encourages more people to do that with their animals, is what he's saying. Okay, let's get down to the other stuff. So what he's showing me on the other side, when I see them, especially the dogs, most of the time I see them outside in this large grassy area. But what's interesting is that this time they're showing me a creek with a lot of rocks. And so I'm assuming that he went to a creek with a lot of rocks. But he's showing me this on the other side, and that this is what he still enjoys doing. He likes to explore these rocks and drink out of, so this is probably what he did in life, because they don't drink on the other side. So he's showing me drinking from this stream. So this is what he probably did in life too. But he shows me that he continues to enjoy the same things on the other side. He spends his relaxation time by this stream. So I'm interested to hear what she has to say, because she may know the exact location that I'm talking about too. Huh. Yeah. So let's see what else he has to say. He knows that, and this is good for everybody to hear that has pets. When you lose a pet, a lot of times you say, I'm not getting another one because I can't go through this again.
I know.
Yeah. But he doesn't want you to do that, because you have so much to give and you were such a great dog mom that he doesn't want you to do that. He wants you to allow other dogs and other animals to come into your life.
Yeah, because you will affect them the same.
I do want to tell you, Lynn, this is tough, but a couple years ago, I want to say it's been a couple years, her bird got out. And I held on to the hope that he was alive, but he just came through. And so I do want to confirm for you, I'm sure you already feel this, but that he has passed. It was a little green cheek conure. I can't remember what his name was, but he is there with Sawyer. So they're presenting together. So that means that he's passed. So that's important to tell
At least
you.
she gets that confirmation.
Because I know, she figured that he did, but you know what? You wouldn't believe how many times people find animals and don't report that they found them, don't do anything to find the owner. So I always tell people, don't ever let go of that hope.
Right.
But if we can confirm it like this, then I think that that's important, that we have that kind of... So anyway, so they are together and love you very much and send their love.
Nice.
Yay.
Well, thank you, Lynn and Sawyer.
Thank you very much.
Bird.
I can't remember what the bird's name was. He was so cute. I felt so bad for her when she lost him. He just flew out the door. It happens, I do a lot of bird grooming, and that's one of the reasons why, because they just... Yeah. If their wings are fully intact, a lot of times they'll just fly off. And people are like, oh, that's cruel. But it's not cruel. What's cruel is, not doing it and then having an accident in the house or something. If you have a bird that's domesticated and is in the house, then it really doesn't need to be able to fly unless it has to get away from something like cats. Yeah. In those cases, then I recommend, every situation is different. But if you have a bird that, especially if they get somewhat air, so like if they're on their cage and they jump down and they don't go straight down to the floor, that's when you need to trim their wings, because they can glide and be picked up by wind so easily, especially those little guys. Go on. So anyways, okay, so let's go on to Elizabeth and Lucky.
All right.
This is Lucky. He passed away a couple weeks ago. I miss him so much, and it was very hard to say goodbye. Can you please let me know how he is doing? Okay, so this is Lucky.
Oh.
Zumi would love Lucky.
White,
Zumi
fluffy.
White, fluffy, like poodle-ish kind of dogs. That's his favorite. I don't know why, but it is. And he's so big. He's like 160 pounds. Yeah. But he would love this dog. Okay, so... I'm so sorry for your loss, first of all. This is still really fresh. This was a couple weeks ago. So the grief is still really fresh. And so the first thing that Lucky tells me is, because this grief is so fresh, it's clouding your better judgment. You know that you gave Lucky an amazing life and that he actually lived that name, that Lucky, Yeah. He had a very lucky life. He found a family that loved him and took care of him and fulfilled all of his needs. But for some reason, right now, you're doing some guilt. And that is a part of the grieving process. So whatever the guilt is about, let me see if he tells me any more about it. I'm feeling like it has something to do with the way that he passed. Either... you weren't there, or you feel like you could have done more, but there was something about his passing that you're having guilt and you're holding on to. And he wants you to know that he is not holding on to anything like that. He does not have any hard feelings. There is no, negative anything here. It is pure 100% unconditional love for you. And so any of these feelings that you're having, he wants you to try and release. That will help you get through this grieving process easier. Because this is what we do. This is, and this is advice that I hear from pretty much every animal that I talk to on the other side that, comes with this guilt kind of thing. Yeah. They don't want us to feel this because they don't feel any of that. They didn't feel those types of emotions here even so much, but they definitely don't feel them on the other side. When we go to the other side, basically our worst day there is like our best day here. Okay, so imagine your absolute best day on earth, and you're not going to hold animosity and hard feelings and resentment and all of those things. That's just like a little glimpse of what it's like to be on the other side and to have the kind of emotions that they have. So they don't feel guilt and they don't feel regret, and so they don't want us to feel that either. And it's important for everyone to hear that, because grief, in the grieving process, that guilt, it gets us. It still gets me with dogs and animals that I lost many, many years ago, you know? So I'm not lecturing. I'm just telling you what he's saying, that he really wants you to let go of that, because there really isn't a reason for it. You did a wonderful job with him. Let me see what he wants to tell me and show me besides that. So he's showing me pushing something with his nose. It looks like a bowl, but it could be a toy. But I want to say, like, this might have been a way that he alerted you that he was hungry, because I see him, like, pushing it with his nose, like, across the floor. Yeah. I always know there's a reason why they show me these things, but the vision that I have, so people understand, it's a vision. And it just plays out a little bit, and I interpret it the way that I interpret it. It's like watching a movie with the sound off. And so and then I have to listen for, is there anything that's going to come with this? And so what I see in this vision is him pushing that bowl. But that could mean a lot of things. You know, that could mean something completely different to the owner than what I'm feeling, you know. So, anyways, that was one of the things that he showed me. And the other thing that he's showing me, these are confirmation ways they confirm that it's them, is kind of like running in circles, but like on a slippery kind of floor, like on this wood floor here. So his feet wouldn't quite make the circle sometimes. So he would kind of lose his footing and be silly. I'm seeing this whole little silly, like going round and round kind of dance. I think you'll understand what I'm talking about. But yeah, those are the couple of things that he's showing me to validate that it is him that we are talking to. He is showing me a cat. I don't know if this cat has passed or if it's alive, because I'm actually seeing it in this picture with him. So that could mean that this cat is still alive, but he is showing me a cat. And let's see if there's anything else he wants to say. So he's also saying something that the last one said. And so I'm going to make this a message, not just for Elizabeth, but for everybody. Don't hesitate getting another pet when you lose one. Don't do it because you feel like you have to, or because you feel like, you know, whatever. Do it for the right reasons is what I'm saying. But they do not want us to feel like we can't. They want us to be happy. A lot of times these are gifts from them. And sometimes this is them reincarnated. So don't ever pass up the opportunity to bring another animal into your life because you are afraid that one that has passed is going to feel left out or jealous. Because that's not it at all. They want you to have the love. They can't give it to you because they can't be here. It's not that they don't want to be here. They can't be here. So they have to find ways to show you love. And one of that ways is by sending you other animals to help you on, you know, your grief journey. So don't ever hesitate is what Lex is
because
saying.
it does help the grief. You know, it's strange the way that cycle works. Going from the mourning and sadness to, you know, we tell ourselves, well, we're not replacing so-and-so. We're just, you know, getting somebody else.
Right.
But we are helping ourselves get over the grief.
We are.
By welcoming somebody else in.
I was thinking about that the other night because we've talked about that when these three are gone that we're not going to get any dogs for a while. And I was thinking about that there will be nothing like that to fill that grief. And that I've never had that. I've always, like, it's been like a cycle, you know. But, so, yeah, that's got to be tough. It's not going to be easy. But they don't want us to not have animals because we're afraid of what they think, you know.
No, because I think that the reason for it all is that love, that relationship. And we're supposed to make as many wonderful relationships while we're alive.
Yep. Okay, so that is Elizabeth and Lucky.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I want to move on because we're not even halfway through. I want to make sure we get to all these. Okay, so this is from Bob. Bob says, this is Odie. He was 6 years old when I rescued him, and I had him for only 6 months when I had to put him down because of kidney failure. Did he have a good time with me? It has only been a few months since he has been gone, and I miss him very much.
I think I remember seeing pictures. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cute dog, Bob.
Yeah. He is a very cute dog. Bob came to one of my medium circles a couple of years ago, and I remember at the medium circle telling him that he was going to be bringing a dog into his life.
Yeah.
And I felt partially responsible when the dog passed at 6 months, because I was like, oh man, did I encourage him to get a dog? And then the dog passed, you know? But you know what? Everything that happens for a reason. And this dog was brought into your life for a reason. He was brought there for not just the comfort for you, but for you to bring comfort to him in his final days.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is tough info, but I think that this is info people should hear, because this does happen. So he was already in kidney failure when you got him. And his previous owners knew that.
Yeah.
And I think they felt like he would go to this shelter. This is the story I'm feeling, is that they thought he would go to the shelter and nobody would adopt him and he would be put to sleep. And that's obviously not what happened.
Right.
That wasn't his path. But the family that had him would not have been a great place for him to live the last 6 months of his life. Even though he did go through that with the shelter and everything, honestly, Bob, you gave him a much better 6 months. Also, if he would have stayed in that home, they wouldn't have put him to sleep. They would have let him pass on his own. And that's really uncomfortable in certain cases.
Yeah.
And so this really helped. Him coming into your life helped him so much, and it was really a gift for both of you. But it really it changed his life. So know that you changed a life for a dog.
You should be proud of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And he tells me that he is always around you. And he did have a good time with you. Absolutely. Let's see. He tells me that you guys didn't have to be doing anything exciting. It wasn't like, you had to take him out or anything for him to have a good time. He just enjoyed being with you. And, what he's showing me is you talking to him and him talking back to you in his mind. But, so it was like you guys were having a conversation, but you didn't realize that you were actually having a conversation with him, if that makes sense. Like, he knew what you were talking about.
Huh.
And so, that's interesting. He really, it was like a conversation, even though he couldn't actually talk back, like Bob couldn't hear him. But I do think that maybe Bob did hear some of what he said, that Bob thinks that it was his imagination, but it wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't. So, there is Bob and Odie.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. And thank you again for rescuing a senior dog.
Yeah, it's not easy.
It's not. No. You never know where they come from and what their background has been. Okay, so this is Magdalena. And she says, "Hi, Samantha and Danny. This is Bella. She is 1.5 years old. We got her when she was just 6 weeks old. I would love to know if she is happy in our house and if she realizes that she's been a great companion for my youngest son, who is an anxious little boy. And also why she is not too fond of my oldest son and my husband. Thank you so much."
What can I see?
Yes.
Kitty cat.
Yes.
Pretty.
Very pretty. Black cat with a little bit of white and bright green eyes. Just gorgeous. Okay, so let me connect to Bella. So sometimes animals have these weird quirks. And we wonder where they come from because we get them at such a young age. Like, you got this cat at 6 weeks old. And so some of the behaviors that you see might not make sense. They're just parts of his personality. Or her personality, sorry. Okay. So let me answer these questions. Okay, so the reason why your youngest son gets along with her so well is because they understand each other. And this is where it was going about the behaviors. So people might wonder, I've had this cat my whole life. Why doesn't it like me? If it's not, great with your husband and the older son. And they might think, well, something happened with men that makes them not like men. That's not the case here. That's not what's going on here. What's happening is that your youngest son is much more like Bella. They understand each other. Bella has some anxiety herself. And so they just connect on a different level. He's also much more gentle with her. Not that your other son and your husband aren't, but what I mean by gentle is more of like a softer feminine side, where the more masculine is a little bit more frightening to her. She likes the more softer. And that has nothing to do with anybody, like, not like there was abuse or anything. Our Great Dane has been with us pretty much his whole life, since he was like 11 weeks old. And he's like that. He's so weird with people and, and different things. And you would think, what happened to this dog? But nothing. It's just a part of what is ever in their genes or in the breed or whatever. But she's just more, it's more her feminine side. That, she likes the feminine side in your youngest son. So, let's see. What's that? I think that was the only question. Is she happy? Though, let's answer that. She's very happy. She's a very happy cat. She's still very young. And so she's still kind of learning to come into herself more. But she will. She will, like, okay, let me see what she's trying to explain. So right now she's a little bit more high maintenance, a little bit more energy, but over the next year or two, you're going to start to notice her just relaxing more into the situation, just becoming more comfortable with herself. And that's just like, they're going through this infant stage they go through the whole like infant, toddler, young child, teenager stage. They go through that really quickly, like within the first 2 years of life. And so she's growing really fast and her mind is growing. And so she just needs some time to kind of catch up. That's all. But she will, and she's a good kitty. And I think the point of that was that the anxiety that you see will calm down as she ages. So, nice. So that is Magdalena and Bella.
Thank you.
Yay. Okay, and now we have a spirit reading.
Ooh.
Okay, this is from Crystal. She says, "Hi, this is my grandma who was blessed to live 101 years.
Nice.
She was the most selfless, kind-hearted, amazing woman. I genuinely miss my talks with her and all her advice. I'm just wondering if she has any advice for me now. Thank you for your time and energy and all you do." So I forgot to ask her for grandma's name.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, and because we recorded a day earlier than I think we planned, so I didn't get the name. But that's okay. I'm just going to call her Grandma.
She's sweet.
She's very sweet, yeah. I feel like... Okay. I don't know if she ever talked to you about this, but at first, when she started living, like getting old, it wasn't really a big deal. She thought that she would, pass in her 80s, maybe, and she was okay with that. She was, comfortable with that. And she kept living. And she's like, what's going on here? Why am I still alive? All these things were going through her head. And she's like, okay, I want to see just how long I can make this go on for. Not because she really cared if she lived to 101, but because it almost felt like a game towards the end of her life, as she prepared most of her life for the fact that she might live to 80 something and she ended up living past 100. Oh man, I hope that doesn't happen to me. I don't really want to live that long. But she tells me that it actually was pretty good quality. It wasn't like she, went downhill at 80 and then spent the last 21 years miserable. She wasn't like that at all. Wow. So she is telling me, let me go back to her picture, that her mind was pretty much with it. I don't feel like there was Alzheimer's or dementia. We obviously natural progression happens, but I feel like she was still pretty much with it when she passed away, which is really cool. Yeah. Or at least, there shortly before, of course. Let me see what else she has to say. She calls you beautiful. She has an accent. I'm guessing this is maybe Spanish. I don't know what the accent is, but I am picking up something in her voice. And she calls you beautiful. That's when I hear the accent the most, is when she calls you beautiful. And she says, "This is my beautiful granddaughter." And she's not just talking about beauty on the outside. She's talking about on the inside too. Wow. That you are an absolutely beautiful person and kind-hearted. And she said that a lot of the traits that you see in her, she sees in you, and that you got those from her. So she's glad that she rubbed off, not just in the gene wise, but in those talks that you had that were very deep. And she misses those too. But she tells me that you can still talk to her in your head like that, and you do. And so she's having the conversation with you. And I feel like sometimes you hear her back, but it doesn't sound like her. It sounds like you. And that's what most people confuse the voice for, is that they think that it's going to come in the spirit's voice. But like for me, I don't hear anything in their voice except if they, like with this one, she wanted me to show the accent or the difference in her voice. And that's the only thing that I heard in an accent, was just, she's beautiful. And then the rest of it goes back to being in my voice. So when you are having these situations where you're talking to her in your head and you feel like you're hearing the advice back, you are hearing the advice back. Yeah. You absolutely are. That's a piece of advice in itself for you, because that will help you with other pieces of advice that you need. But hold on. Okay. She says the best piece of advice for you is probably not the advice that you're looking for, but it is the best piece that she can give to her granddaughter and listeners. And that is, this life is nothing like what you think it is. It's nothing like what you think it is. And you need to enjoy it while you're here. Yeah. And you need to work while you're here. And here come the tears. So we know that this is real. So we're going to breathe past the tears. Okay. So what she's saying to you is to be happy, to live this life for you, not for others. I mean, you have to live it for others to be a good person, but as far as the things that you should be doing for you, you should be living for you. You want to make sure that you get to the end of your life and feel like you accomplished the things that you wanted to accomplish, not what others wanted you to accomplish or what you felt like you needed to accomplish. So I feel like there's a piece of advice within that piece of advice that if you're following something in your life that maybe you feel like you're being pushed into, I think what she's saying is go with your heart. Listen to your heart. Listen to what you feel. And you can't go wrong if you listen to your heart and your own intuition. So.
Yeah. That's good advice, Grandma.
Thank you, Grandma. Woo!
Thank you.
Those spirit ones.
And Magdalena.
Yeah, that was the previous one. This is Crystal.
Oh, I'm sorry, Crystal.
Yep, thank you, Crystal.
I'm lost.
That's okay. I would be too if I didn't have my notes. But yeah, thank you, both of you. That I love those spirit readings that are touching like that.
Yes.
That I have to recuperate from afterwards. Okay, so what do we have next? Next we have Sherry and Nina. Nina passed. I keep seeing her name, sometimes multiple times a day, as well as my symbol for her, the hummingbird. What is she trying to tell me? Thank you. Okay. So it's funny because I do readings for Sherry every once in a while, and I've talked to Nina before. And I do remember her saying that this is what she was going to do, that you were going to see her name in the most random, weird places. Nina it's not a common name. No. Yeah, you hear it, but not that often. It's like for me, Danny can attest to this. We hear Linda everywhere. Okay, most people don't, but we do. So you probably hear Nina everywhere. And that is a sign from her. And it's a sign for a couple of reasons. First of all, to tell you that she is still around you. And secondly, to let you know that she wants to come back to you. She wants to reincarnate. All of your dogs that are there want to. So, she's going to love this. So pets, what do you want to do about pets, Sherry? Because they want to come back. And they all want to come back.
At once.
Not at the same time. No, not at the same time. But close together where you would be up to like 3 again. So I don't know how you feel about that. But these things don't have to happen if you don't want them to. So just remember that if you don't feel like you're ready, then you just tell them, you know what, I'm not ready yet. And you will at some point be ready, and it's okay if it's not now. But what she is trying to tell you is that they're ready to come back. So keep your eyes peeled for opportunities to rescue other animals if you are ready, if you feel you are ready. That's really cool. Is the most important thing, is that they'll never force us to do anything, you know. They just, you know.
I love that name, by the way, Sherry. I had a cat named Nina. Yeah. I love that name.
Yep. So I hope that answers your question, Sherry.
Good. That's cool.
Yeah. So
she's like,
yeah, I know. I'm like, I don't know what she's going to think about that, but we'll see. We'll see what she has to say. All right, we still got time.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we had mentioned in the last episode and at the beginning that our mascot Gabe lost his mom.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk to Alice real quick and check in on her. Yeah. So
hopefully we're not waking Alice up. She's probably resting.
Actually, okay, so let's explain a little bit.
Gabe, you look like a male version of your mother.
He does, doesn't he?
You don't look like your father at all. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That's probably a good thing.
I took the picture.
Nothing against Dad, but mom's pretty.
Yeah. He had told me that he was going to get me a picture, and then he didn't, and I know his mind is, really preoccupied. So I took this one off of his profile, and it's the picture of his parents' wedding picture, and I just cut Dad out so that I have Mom. But yeah, you and your mom look a lot alike. Wow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But it's funny because she is beautiful, so it's like telling Gabe, "You're very beautiful."
Yeah. I was trying not to say that.
I was like, how do I say your mom's beautiful without saying something odd like that? But she is. She's very pretty. And she had a wonderful, beautiful, gentle heart and soul. There was nothing, we all have negatives to us, of course, but there was nothing harsh about her. Like, she wasn't the type to yell or get angry. She was always wanted to try and resolve things with peace if she could. I want to back up for a second because Danny had said, maybe she's sleeping. We don't want to disturb her because she did only pass like a week or so ago.
Right.
However, I've been in touch with Alice a few times since then.
It's just out of respect, Alice.
Yes. I asked these things before and they were okay with it. She's okay with it. I feel like her resting, I don't think she wanted to rest as much as like a lot of people do. And it's interesting because she was older. She was over 80. I know. Yeah, she was over 80 when she passed. So you would think that she would want to take all this time to rest. But actually, what I feel is that she is enjoying the interactions the most. So maybe she hasn't even gone into resting yet.
That's true.
Maybe she's just enjoying this and doing her life review. And she has a very large family, too. So I can feel that she wants to make sure that the family, everybody's okay, that they know she's okay. And so she's kind of trying to, be with everyone and send everything. And so she's still working. So I don't think she's gone into resting at all. That's interesting.
Wow.
Yeah. So I want to know let's see if she will, though. Let me ask her.
She has a big family, too.
I do feel like she will go into rest. She says that it doesn't have to be right when you get there, that a lot of souls do opt for that because their families are smaller or they're prepared or they're mostly there on the other side. But because she has such a large family and and her husband is still alive. So she may not go into resting until he gets there.
Right.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever had a spirit tell us this before. So this is kind of cool new information. Because
I guess we assume that after you've lived a life, it's tiring and you're old and beat up, but that just means your body, but your mind, I would imagine, is still a bit tired too. But that's cool to hear that they can kind of do it even intermittently or whenever.
Yeah,
they need to.
I have to tell you what I just snorked about. If you saw me snork, or if you heard me, because all of a sudden Linda came up on my side. That's my mom. Came up on my side and went, I didn't rest at all.
No.
Well, hello, but you were only 51, Right. But I get it. What she's saying is that it's up to you. Yeah. You can do what you want. If you feel like you need to rest after your life, then you can. And right now, Alice she's not choosing to rest because her work isn't done. She says she needs to settle her children into this and her husband. Her husband he's seeing her and he's feeling her and she's trying to, what she's trying to do for him is make him see that there is something beautiful after this, that it is not lights out. No. He knows that. I feel like he already feels that from her. But her goal is to make not just him feel that way, but all the kids. Mm-hmm. She wants them all to feel that she's around and to know that there's something greater than this, because then they can live their lives in more peace. Right. If they know that mom's around, or they know that there's something more. Right. And then that can help them. So she is not going into resting, is what I feel for now.
I got this visual of, and I think it was trying to explain to me, of like, try to imagine your most tired day after work. Let's just take, for example, it's your birthday. And you had to work a really long day or whatever it is. And there's, unbeknownst to you, there's a surprise party in the works for when you get home.
That's good news.
And you come through the front door and you are frigging exhausted. You want to go straight upstairs and go to sleep and crash until the next morning. And it's surprise. Being in a room full of energy, and especially for Alice, because she probably has a lot of family members that have passed. It's like a welcoming home or a surprise party.
Totally.
That you are so tired, but it's just so awesome that you're like, I'll sleep later.
Totally.
That's the feeling I got.
Yeah, no, I can see that for sure. She does have a lot of people on the other side. So, yeah, and here. So she's a busy woman still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
So I hope that helps a little bit, Gabe.
Yeah.
I want to get these other two done. We have about 10 minutes. Yay. Okay. Okay, the next one is Melissa, and she says, this is Virginia. We adopted her at 7 weeks after her mother was killed. She's a cat, so you know.
Okay.
She is one of 3 cats, and the other two are much older. Just wanted to see if she is happy with us. We adore her. Okay.
And this is Melissa in Virginia?
Yes, this is Virginia. She's a very pretty kitty.
Yeah, she looks very, what's the word?
Regal.
Yeah, regal.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the cat.
Yeah, I'm the queen of this house. Okay. No, but she knows her place in the house. She does. She doesn't try and, like, overtake the older ones. She doesn't think that she's the alpha kitty, is basically what she's saying. She's happy. She's a very happy cat. She does not remember what happened to her mother, so that's good. She doesn't mind the age difference with the other kitties. You know, as a kitten, it's tough because you want to play, and the older ones, you know, they're not really as interested in playing. So I think that, like, the hardest times with the age difference are probably behind you. I feel like she's adjusting really well. I want to see, go back to the question. Yeah, is she happy with this? Let me see what else she gives me, though. She loves to be scratched or petted on the back of her neck. When you sit and, like, massage the back of her neck, she loves that. She goes into a trance.
So do I.
This is true. This is true. Let's see what else she shows me. She's a vocal kitty, but it's small vocal little meows. It's not like a big boisterous meow. She uses her little meow to get your attention. And she's very simple. She doesn't need anything super exciting. She likes her little toys, and she's telling me catnip. So if you don't give her that already, I would try it. I think she would enjoy it, but this may already be because she knows what it is. But she's very healthy. I don't feel anything off. Yeah. So let's see if there's anything else she wants to say. She wants to thank you for giving her the life that she has. She's still really young, and so it's hard for her to articulate the way that she feels because she is so young. It's, you know, like a young child. Yeah. But she feels very lucky, and she's very happy to have the family that she has and to be taken care of the way that she is and loved. And she's showing me being held like a baby.
She looks very content in that picture.
Yeah, she's content with her life, absolutely. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question, Melissa. And Virginia, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and this is the last one. And this is kind of different. This is kind of a psychic reading, but this is from Hillary. She says, I was curious if you have soul family like with pets. My best friend and I have a connection unlike others, and we were both curious if this is possible. And then she gave a picture of her and her best friend. So let me read this relationship a little bit. we can absolutely have friends that are soul family. Our soul family doesn't have to be just blood. Sometimes our friends are better family than our actual family, you know?
I agree.
But in the soul terms, I don't see a reason why, if you have, you know, friends in your soul family, that you couldn't be other things to each other, like brother and sister and you know, maybe even mother and child. I don't know. But it's possible. But, okay, what's interesting, and I don't know if you guys have noticed this, is that there is an interesting resemblance between the two of you.
I noticed that.
Did you notice that?
Just, I mean, the hair color throws you off, but
yes, it does. But the facial
cover,
structure,
but there's something similar. Yeah,
the mouth, the eyebrows, they're all very similar here. And so, I think what this is saying to me is that you are soul family. That even if, because this could be an optical illusion for me to feel this family too, but you saw it, so it probably isn't.
Yeah.
But I do feel like this is soul family, and that's why you two do have these similarities.
Right.
You also have, what I'm feeling is, okay, this is developing. Hold on, let's let it develop. You have a sort of telepathic communication with each other. You finish each other's sentences similar to, have you ever thought about, are you going to say what you think maybe we're going to say?
Well, I was going to guess that maybe they were maternal twins in a different life.
That's exactly what it is. They were twins in a different life.
Yeah.
So because they carried that, they still have that connection.
Right.
It brought them together. It made them recognize each other. They have similarities in facial features. They have similar personalities. There's a lot of things that I could see there. At first, I was just like, oh, it's her BFF. You know, a lot of times we feel like our BFFs are, you know, meant to be for whatever reason. But this one, definitely, I agree with you that she is soul family. You two have known each other in many different lives. And, you know, something that happens with any relationship is that they're up and down. Okay. And so I don't know so much about the relationship in this life, but I do feel like relationships in past lives between the two of you have been difficult. And so you are put here together again to learn lessons that you didn't learn the last time. So what kind of lessons are these? What, you know, how do you know, right? Well, I think that if you look at issues that you may have with one another, because really any friendship or relationship, we all have issues there. And you look at what those issues might be. I think the two of you can intuitively come up with what it is that the universe is trying to teach you with this relationship. I feel like at least in this life with the twins, that it was jealousy. There was a huge jealousy thing there. And so that's one of the things in this life that you're being taught is that, what's the phrase I'm looking for? Your girlfriends come first. There's a way to put it. It's like, for men, it's like bros before hoes. But I can't
before
remember.
bros.
I can't remember. Yeah, but there's a other way of putting it. I can't remember what it was, and it's pretty good. But I'm forgetting. No, it was fine.
I just went with the obvious.
Yeah, right. That is obvious. But anyways, I think that what they're trying to say in that is that not that you each have to come first in each other's lives, but never, ever, ever let somebody come between you. Never let a relationship come between you. That is one of the lessons that you're being taught together on this earth. So if this does come up, or maybe it already has, don't let this person come in between you, because it is a divine lesson. And if you do, then you fail the lesson, and then guess what? Got to come back and do it all over again.
Yeah.
So, but I think there's other things too. But I can't tell you all of them. It would take me probably a while. But also I think that these are things that we have to soul search and figure out for ourselves. Like, what is it that about our relationship that I'm doing, not the other person? What am I doing that's my lesson that I need to learn, that maybe I'm not the best friend that I could be, and I could do other things, and, you know, look at all those things. But definitely a soul connection there.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
Yeah, I like that one. Thank you for that. They were all great. All great. But I love the variety, like doing different things and learning different things, because honestly, like, we learned some new things in this episode ourselves, you know?
Yeah.
So I love those. But I'm
very
tired
cool.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Well, that was cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody that participated and sent something.
Yep, we got to
us.
all of them. I'm glad we got to all of them.
Yeah,
Yep.
and we do these sporadically, so there's always room for more. So keep that in mind. You can send them now, and we'll, not that the next episode will be readings, but we'll try to cram them in.
For sure.
Or you can always message Samantha and get a reading privately,
Yep,
too.
Absolutely, you can. And if you don't know, we have a discussion group, and that's where our listeners give us the readings that they want to do. Mm-hmm. We have the discussion group because we also have a page, but the page is very public. And we started doing these polls on the page, and people's relatives and stuff were seeing it, and they were chiming in and being really rude about it, because obviously not everybody believes this.
Right.
So we wanted a safe place for our listeners to be able to talk and for us to do these poll questions. So we have a discussion group that you can search on Facebook. It's Spiritual Philosochatter with the Joneses discussion group.
There you go.
Or you do @Spiritual Joneses on Facebook. It brings up our page. And every week when I post what we're going to talk about this week, I post the discussion group link. Yeah. So you can find it there as well.
That's helpful.
So, yeah, we've had a lot of listeners join recently. It's been great.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
So there's that fabulous episode.
Well, on that note, then, would you like to finish sharing the rest of your information before we say goodbye?
Yeah, why don't I do that?
Okay.
So you can find me on my website, SamanthaJonesPsychicMedium.com. You can schedule an appointment there, all those great things. If you'd like to reach us at the show or send us stuff like Danny was saying, our email is spiritualjoneses@gmail.com.
Yay.
Yeah. Then you, sir.
Thank you. For my art, djonesartcollection.com for the web, @djonesartcollection for Instagram and Facebook. And that's all I got.
Great.
For today.
Yay.
Well, we hope everybody got something out of this.
That we do.
Even if you didn't get a reading, maybe you felt persuaded to maybe get one at some point.
They're not scary.
No.
I try and make them as easy as I can, you know?
So, and hopefully you heard something in some of these readings that for those that did participate or didn't, either way, we hope somebody somewhere got something out of it.
That we do.
And we hope everybody has a great week.
Yes.
Until next week.
Peace and love.